Now we just want to look at a top piece. We will start by cutting the Achilles tendon there, which is attached to the nap bone, and making a cut down each side of that exposed marrow bone. You can see the bone in the middle, and you take a knife down both sides, freeing it right round to the bottom. Then you want to break the joint that's just at the top there. We can see where it is now. Continue our knife down the side of the marrow bone, and continue to put your knife through the joint, releasing completely. Once we've got the marrow bone completely off, we'll then take the hock or the shin off. So we'll now take off the H bone. First of all, remove the rough meat from the front of the bone, and I'm now taking the H bone itself off. I'm doing this by just working my knife at the back of the H bone, and you'll see that I'm using my thumb there to push the H bone out to allow me to see down the back of the H bone. And now there's a ball and socket joint there. There's a piece of tendon that attaches that to the ball and from the socket. Cut that and carried on down the back of the H bone. And there's a little kind of hillock there. Sometimes some butchers will pull that and leave the grizzle in the beef. I prefer to just to cut round it, take the H bone completely out of there. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the top side, seaming this out. First is to identify the seam, and that can be quite awkward if the beef tends to be fattier, but you can see the seam. You can see the knuckle at the bottom there, and the top side at the top, and that's where you'll find the seam. I'm now putting the top piece up on its side. This does two things. One, that allows me to see down between the top side and the inner marrow bone, and it also allows the weight of the meat itself to start opening the beef and to expose that seam that you can see there now, and so that I can just easily work through that seam and follow that seam right to its end. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the knuckle, or release it at the one side. Take my knife along the edge of the marrow bone, and I'm going to release it at the other side of the marrow bone. I'll just continue doing this, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the seam, and again I'm pulling the top piece to the edge of the block so that the meat itself hangs down and pulls the seam apart, and it shows me where the seam is going. What I'm looking for here is the silver side itself, and we can see the silver side there. I'm carrying that on right down till there's nothing there but skin, and just cut right through the skin and right down to the end, and that's the knuckle. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the marrow bone itself, releasing it again at one side, working my knife along the back of the marrow bone, and I'm going to release it at both sides, and I'm going to keep doing this until it almost it's exposed there, so it really it's quite easy to take this marrow bone out, because it's just very clear. You just need to work your knife at both ends and up the middle, and it just comes off. While the meat is where it is right now, once that bone comes off, you can see the rough trimming that's just right at your hand. That's a time where you just want to take off that rough meat and expose the primal, which is left as the silver side and still attached as a salmon cut. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the inside hock. Again, I'm looking for that seam, and I'm following the seam down, and removing the inside hock. The next step is to take off the salmon cut, and you can see the white fat in the middle. That gives you a good guide to see where the seam is. Sometimes the seam is very difficult to see. This time it's not too bad. You can just follow that seam right round, and you're taking off the salmon cut. Now, again, while it's exposed there for you, just take off that rough fat and trimming from the silver side. And the next thing to do is I'm just taking off a little bit of that grizzle that's along the side there, just to make it easy for me when I catch this piece here. I can draw my knife along the back of the silver side itself and take it straight off there, because that is no good to man the beast. And so really the last thing for me to do here is I'm going to just cut it in half. So now what we have left is here is a big piece, and the corner is the top side, and then there's the trimmings in front of that. Then there's the salmon cut, the long narrow piece. Then we'll have the knuckle, the inside hock, silver side, and the hock or the shin.